You gotta go where the industry is happening.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the industry events.
You can tap into their genius, but in order to tap into their genius, you need to leave your house.
Exactly.
You need to go and seek people out.
You walk into a room and you meet not just one, not just two, not just five. You meet dozens. You meet people that you like, I mean that with love in my heart. They're not smarter than you. The limits you see in you, you mistake those as being the limits of the world.
Yeah.
All right, and hello everyone to another episode of the Jack Boss Show. Today, I got my original co-host with me here. She was in the very first episode. It's the one, it's the only, it's the incredible Michelle Bosch. As you know her, she is the co-founder of our Land Profit Generator Method. She's the co-founder of all our companies. She's also married to me for 22 years. She deserves an Oscar for that on his own.
Yes, I do.
And she also was the CEO of our company for multiple years. They went through some health challenges last year and this year. Finally got them resolved, right? And is back up and running. And today we're going to talk with Michelle about the power of real one-to-one human connection and being actually networking and actually not just doing these kind of businesses from at home, but actually meeting people. Michelle, how are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for that incredible introduction. I'm like,
Well, you're
wow.
awesome.
I was like, oh, I want to meet her.
Well, let me tell you, she's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go. So I want to talk about, so we know, right? We run our business from home.
Yeah.
Like I'm back there. Actually, today, welcome guys. You're actually in our house today. We're hanging out here today.
Our sanctuary.
Our sanctuary here.
That doesn't feel like a sanctuary when Daisy goes crazy barking
That's
over
right.
a bird.
Our dog is hidden away right now. But the thing is, we run our business from home.
Yeah.
Right? My office is down the hall over there. Your office is upstairs. Mm-hmm. We basically work all day long from home. Over here, you don't see that. There's a bunch of mess. Michelle decided to work downstairs today from the living room. There's all her books and her laptops and her things. So we work from home.
Throwing
and that
me
is,
under the bus.
Of course. And that is, I gave you all these flowers first here.
Now
So.
he's throwing me under the bus.
So the thing is, working from home is fantastic.
It is.
But there's also something sometimes missing, at least unless you're this extreme introvert.
Yes. I mean, I am an introvert, but I'm not extreme. And I do have to say that there are days when I'm working from home where I've even mentioned to you, I think I need to get out of this virtual world where I'm in communication with, our team inside of an app, or I'm looking at what the world is doing, on social media. And I actually want to get out of the house and see other people, be with other humans, and have that human connection and actually tune in to what's real.
Exactly right.
And because you can very easily forget. And I don't want to say, but I think ever since COVID happened and a lot of people have been at home, there's also been a little bit of an epidemic regarding, mental health and just being a little bit so isolated from people, that you don't have that human connection and what that brings, which is sometimes the opportunity to step into a field of possibility and abundance that perhaps, or optimism or energy that others carry along with them.
Yeah.
And so for us, I think when we started, I remember our land flipping business, we started also working from home.
That's right.
And
land flipping always works from home. So if you want the ultimate virtual business, then land wholesaling, really what we're doing is wholesaling, just not houses, but land, is the best way to do any kind of real estate business from home.
However, I remember very early on us recognizing that, even though we were moving along and we were basically moving forward and we were having success, that it was important to be with others, that we needed to not just be isolated in our own little world, but that we understood that the 5 people that we hang out with, and it was just you, me, and me at the mirror, and you at the mirror.
That's right.
So it was 4. But that we needed other people.
Those are multiple personalities.
Those are multiple personalities. But we needed to basically, be in contact with other 5 people, that were working or playing at a higher level than we were.
Yeah.
And for us, the natural thing was to go, I remember, to a live event from Tony Robbins called UPW. So shout out to Tony.
Shout out to Tony to Unleash the Power Within, because exactly what you said, I agree with you. I just actually posted that not long ago, a quote that basically says something along the lines of like, the limits you see in you, you mistake those as being the limits of the world.
Yeah.
And there's probably this quote is very, very true, but the concept that the limits that you have, that you think you have, are not the limits of the world. Because there's people like the Zuckerberg that at age 19 or age 21 was a billionaire, right? There's people that at age 33 become the head coaches of well-known football teams, when at age 33, some other people medical doctors just graduate from medical school. And in order to grow, you need to be out there, you need to meet other people, because it expands your own horizon, and it also very much allows you to meet other people that can bring you tremendous business opportunities. So for example, before we talk about UPW, I went for lunch today with the CEO of a local bank.
Yeah.
Now we're investors in the bank. I'm on the advisory council for the bank, but I went to them with the idea that we have a lot of people and customers, and a lot of them are entrepreneurs. The bank is new, the bank is amazing, the bank has fantastic services, and it's all online, and you can become a bank customer from anywhere. I was like, why don't I start referring some of our own students to the bank, and particularly international students that are doing land investing from other countries? And he was very open to it. It was a very, very positive meeting. But then he, fully unexpected, came with a business proposition or with an idea to me that is now the fifth person in a matter of, 3-4 weeks that comes to me with the exact same things. And I'm starting to see a pattern. If everyone is asking for that and everyone has a need for that, perhaps there's a business there. Well, had I not gone to lunch, and had I not gone to the other lunch before, and had I not talked to the other people, and had I not ventured out of the house and actually built those relationships and actually went to events, and some of that happened at events where you go to seminars and things like that, this idea, this potential multi-million-dollar idea that I haven't even disclosed to you, I haven't even showed you, talked about yet, would have never even come up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So now let's talk about UPW.
No, but I want to add to that, and yeah, you're right. It's not just the opportunities that come from that, but also I remember you coming back from lunch and being completely energized by it, and just some of, I would like to say, the energy of this gentleman also rubs off, and even if that opportunity doesn't come to fruition right now, it could come to fruition in the future. And there's one thing that I have learned about networking with others, and that is that sometimes you want to maintain a network of people that can help you with things that are related perhaps to your business, and that could assist you in some way, shape, or form, and you assist them to create win-wins. And those are people that can help you within like a 90-day period. But there's also the opportunity to also network with people that, perhaps nothing comes right now in the next 2 to 3 months from, but that you cultivate those relationships. And I like to say that, you're kind of like farming, long-term farming relationships that could come to a big opportunity,
Yeah, sometimes 10 years from now.
Sometimes 10 years. And that has actually happened when we have attended other people's events, whether it be UPW. I remember there was a millionaire, some kind of a millionaire event that we went on very, very early on. And that gentleman, actually, we met a gentleman
by the name of Frank.
Yeah, by the name of Frank. We're not going to disclose his last name. But Frank then came and became actually a very good friend. He then even funded the growth of our business when we were trying to basically to get our land flipping business.
Exponentially grow. We needed to borrow against some of our receivables, borrow against
really grow and
some
make
of the land notes, because we like to sell land with seller financing. So we had land notes. We borrowed against it for us for some October growth at times. And that led then ultimately to further investments over the time with him. But at the actual event, we don't even remember the exact name of the event or what we learned there anymore. But we know that we made that one crucial relationship there.
Yeah. And so what we're trying to say, guys, is that land flipping is amazing. You can do it from home. You can do it on your own time. It's going to create incredible, leaps in income in your life for your family. It's going to afford you many freedoms, but it's also important sometimes, to get out of our shell, get out of our home, and go and network with people, whether it be one-on-one or in larger events. Because, for example, that Tony Robbins event, I know we were there with about, I don't know how many, 800 people, 500 to 800 people?
Thousands of people.
Thousands of, I don't even remember.
I remember the location. It was in San Jose in one of their opera houses things or theater thing. They actually almost tore down the building, which is Tony Robbins is like a big party. And there was probably like 6,000 people there.
The teachings from that event and the energy and the people that we met, that energized us so much that it was almost
expanded our horizon.
Yeah, it was almost like an activation at a cellular level of just being in the presence of other people that are kind of like in your same wavelength of growth, of optimism, of breakthroughs, of wanting more, of incredibly driven. That it basically, the end result was 18 months later, the land flipping business was 7 figures.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think within 24 months, it became an 8-figure business.
Yeah.
Or 36 months or so, So in essence, we went there, and the impact of the event was so incredible that we came back, and I remember us going there. We had built our land business with no business experience, no entrepreneurial experience, no coach, no skills. There was nobody out there that had done land flipping already that could teach us. No skills, no nothing, and we did the best we could. Foreigners to this country, from Honduras, from Germany, like no idea what we're doing, no idea what resources exist in this country, no idea of anything. And with that, we built this business to a very profitable business. But we were so frustrated. We hired our first 2 employees, and we didn't know they weren't doing everything right. We were blaming them, even though it wasn't their fault. We were blaming them. We were like, we are going to go to UPW right now, and we're either going to afterwards take this business behind the barn and shoot it, or basically just go shrink back to just us, Michelle, you and I, doing 60 deals a year and making a few $100,000, or we're going to come back and we're going to blow this thing up. And what happened is we came back and we 10x'd our business in the next 3 years. That's why we put up events right now. That's why we have an event coming up September 29th or October 1st in the Tampa area, which is Land Flipping Live. And in that event, we're providing that same experience for others. And we have hundreds of people come to this event and become millionaires in a year afterwards. It's just crazy how an event can actually do that.
So if you're feeling like, I remember we were feeling at a point stuck, and like we needed a new era for our lives, a new North Star. And that event served as a reinvention. And we now see it in our, educational company, that our live events are serving that same purpose of reinvention for someone, that wants to basically get places, jumpstart their life again, redesign their life. And the transformations that we have seen, from students are just incredible. They're breathtaking. They sometimes, make my hair stand up because goosebumps because of just the stories of empowerment, the stories of basically of 180-degree changes for the better that not just happen financially, in people's lives, but in their parenting, in their love relationship with their spouse, in their health. I mean, it just goes on and on. And so, we are big believers of live events, of being in, I would say, in communion and with others that are in that same wavelength, and that allow you the opportunity to kind of like step into their field of possibilities and abundance, and you walk away a completely different person.
Yeah, because particularly now, having designed these live events in the same way that we have experienced these events now, no worries, if you attend our live event, you don't have to jump around like Tony Robbins and have a rock the ring. We haven't figured out how to do that yet.
But we do make it playful.
We do make it playful. We have games, we have other things. But most importantly is, what we're really proud of on our events
is networking.
Is that there is, if there's 300 people in the room, and usually that's about the size of them, 200 to 300, there's always, let me say that, there's always at least 80 to 100 already successful land flippers in that place. So in other words, when you go and attend, you don't just learn from somebody who is up there on top of the stage. You're not just learning from one person. You're actually having an entire room of 100 plus people that are left and right and all day long doing land deals. They're exuding this exuberance, this excitement, and you actually get to talk to them like, is this real? What are you doing? How many deals are you doing? And if you walk into an event like that thinking, oh my God, if I could only potentially, in the right circumstances, figure out how to replace my $50,000 a year job, then and you walk into a room and you meet not just one, not just two, not just five, you meet dozens of people that have done just like that and are expand beyond that. You walk in through and you meet people. It expands your horizon. It expands your horizon. You meet people that you like. I mean that with love in my heart. They're not smarter than you.
You can tap into their genius, but in order to tap into their genius, you need to leave your house.
Exactly.
You need to go and seek people out, because what I have found is that most of the people that are just as driven as I am, they're not sitting around, around at the Starbucks, or they're not living, next to where I used to live at least, and I need to actively seek those people out.
Exactly right, and that's, I think,
other weirdos like me that are just as driven as me.
And I think that's, a perfect summary of this, because we started this talking about we're working from home. Working from home is fantastic to get a business started because you have no distractions. It's quiet, right? You turn the TV off, you focus on what you need to do. But getting this business anywhere beyond the starting piece requires you to get out of the house. Requires you to networking. Because then with all the technology we have right now, any business is still a people business. Real estate is a people business. Heck, AI is a people business. Any business out there is a people business.
And can you meet people online, inside of a community, inside of,
it's different.
On Zoom, there's never that energy and that level of connection that exists when you have shared a meal with someone, or you have actually spoken to that person personally, and they have gotten to know you, and trust has built, and you then go on and JV together, or get transactional funding from that person,
or just have somebody that you call is like, hey, I'm having a bad day right now. I'm having a down day. I need a pep talk.
Or I'm having this issue, and I know that you have been in this market and you have overcome this exact same challenge, and now you are able to pick up the phone and basically connect with that person,
Exactly right. I mean, just example, I joined a group not too long ago, and they had a in-person meeting, and during that in-person meeting, I was introduced to several people. And guess what? One of them runs an advertising agency that does things completely different than any other advertising agency I've ever met. And now we're talks with that person to bring him into our company to run our advertising, because we weren't very happy with the way our advertising was running so far. Well, guess what? I would have not stepped out of the house. I would have been moping here, sitting here, so like, our advertising is not working, and so on. Versus if you go outside, you talk to people, it's like, oh, you're running this business. How is this going? Tell me some things about it. Oh, what do you do for this? What do you do for that? Oh, well, could you introduce me to that person? Yes. And your problems get solved left and right when you leave the house. You can always reach out by email to people, but if you don't have a network, if you're new into an industry, you gotta go where the industry is happening. You gotta go to the industry events, because at that industry events, you network, and and any question you always had gets resolved. So perhaps in summary, what I always say to our students, let's say when one of our students starts with our home study course, right? It's a simple couple $1,000 kind of program. They start with this. It's very detailed, but if they start with that program, I ask them, go through the program, go get started, but then come to one of our live events, because what's going to happen is when you go to the program, you start understanding things. So if this is the floor of the ocean and this is the surface, you start scratching the surface, you start going like 10 feet deep, you start understanding what you're doing, but you're not connecting really all the dots yet because you're just so fresh. And then I said, like, then come to one of our live events, because at the live event, you talk to so many people, you get it explained, re-explained one more time, you go so much deeper that after the event, all the synapses are going to connect, all the nerve endings going to connect, everything is going to make sense, and you're like, oh my God, this is what I need to do. And then you go out there and your business rocket starts like that. Just like when we went, it wasn't even an industry event, it was a Tony Robbins event. But we had done enough deals so that the deal making was no problem. But the business building was the challenge.
And also, we also had, at some point, also, you have the skill set, you have the deals, you have the repetition, you have the money, but you kind of hit a ceiling. And in order
because you don't know how to structure the business to the next level.
Exactly. And sometimes to break through to that ceiling, sometimes it's not even skills. Sometimes it's, again, meeting others. And sometimes it's an inner game transformation that needs to happen. And in that inner game transformation, at least for me, it gets precipitated or it happens much, much quicker and much, much faster when I'm exposed to other people.
Exactly. It happens in those events. Exactly right. And that is a perfect ending, because that's what we're doing in our live event. So if you're interested in learning more about land investing, which is an alternative to house investing, because there's 100 times less competition, 5 times more land, the same deals, same profits as the house flippers make, easier, cheaper, and you can do it from home. But the key is, come to one of our live events. We have one coming up September 29th to October 2nd. If you're watching this afterwards, go to Land Flipping Live and see when is the next live event. There's going to be a waiting list for the next one or so if you're watching this later. But if you're still before September 29th, October 1st, 2023, then make sure you go to landflippinglive.com, register for it, and, well, see you there.